So it's been about 19 days since Yelan's release. She hasn't been out too long per se, but today I want to go ahead and give my thoughts and my opinion on the character herself. I want to talk about her kit, her weapon, how she works with other team comps, and also, was I happy with this pull or not? So a big thing for me when it comes to characters in Genshin are how fun are they? A character may be very strong and very useful and like part of the meta, but for me it's more like, is a character all of that and also fun at the same time? And in my experience, Yelan fills both of those roles. She's extremely strong and also she's super fun to play. Now, while even with a lot of investment, Sayu isn't necessarily the strongest character around no matter what you do, but the one thing I have to hand to her is her elemental skill, where she can roll around and she can swirl enemies up, but also just explore a lot faster and move a lot faster. Then there's Xingqiu, who's incredibly strong and works really well with other team comps, especially when you're trying to vaporize when it comes to his rain swords. So when you mix those two characters together, you get Yelan. You have the ability to move extremely fast in the game, and if you have her C1, you can move even faster because you can do it twice. And then of course you have her ult, which is a lot like Xingqiu's, except being a 5-star, it's actually a lot more powerful. And it's just so satisfying to just run through enemies, turn around, and pop, they're all done. Now, in terms of strength, I still have some work to do. I'm still working on her, actually. But I was lucky enough to get her bow, which really can make any character fun when you get their signature weapon. But in this case, this bow is just kind of broken. I mean, this 88% crit damage is ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure that's the highest amount of crit damage in the game. But I will say my experience with her has been phenomenal so far. When it comes to her elemental skill and her elemental burst, they all scale off of her max HP. So the more HP you have, the stronger her attacks will be. And I'm kind of a dum-dum, so when it comes to things like this makes things very simple because I can just know, oh, okay, so the more HP I have, the more attacks she'll do. But this also means that you can't stand in Benny's circle and be like, oh, attack buff, because that won't really work with this character since she scales off of max HP and nothing else. So her attack actually doesn't really matter at all. Now, like I said, I'm still working on her a bit, but I was able to get her up to 29,000 health. This is when she is on her own, completely solo with no team members. But once you add her with a team that has all different elements to it, you'll see she kind of gets like a little heal right there, and boom, she shoots up to 32,000, almost 33,000. Now, funny enough, I actually stole Zhang Ling's artifacts. That's why she has like a kind of a decent amount of EM on her. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't actually have a farmed artifact set that was ready for Yelan when she came out. I was too busy farming for her talent books and everything else. But for my setup, I basically just went for an Emblem of Severed Fate. You could do Heart of the Depth 2-piece, and then you can do another 2-piece of, let's say, Emblem of Severed Fate as well, or Noblesse. Honestly, a lot of different things can work with her as long as it's HP. You could do Tenacity to Megalith if you want to. But Yelan actually does have a bit of variety when it comes to bows. You can use a sacrificial bow to get yourself more energy recharge. I know she has some energy problems at C0, so you could definitely use that. And even more so, you could use Euphonious Warbow. It gives you even more energy recharge once you max out the weapon. You could also use the new weapon, the Fading Twilight, the new 4-star within the event, and you get a free R5 version of it as well. You can use a lot of different things. I wouldn't recommend any like attack bonus ones because that's not really going to help Yelan. There's actually a 3-star weapon as well. I think it's here. It is the recurve bow that also gives you HP. So if you wanted to, you could use that as well. Because once again, it's really just based off of your HP. If you get your HP up high, you can deal a lot of damage even using Euphonious or Sacrificial Bow. Now, as far as stats go, she actually ascends with her crit rate. So it actually saves you a lot of time when it comes to artifacts because you don't have to farm too much crit rate pieces on your artifacts. You can actually just get maybe like a low roll or a couple pieces with crit rate and you'll be okay because you get an extra 24%, I believe. And all because of the bow, I get a free 88% crit damage, so I'm sitting just below 200. You can definitely go a lot higher with the bow and some good artifact rolls. Now, I'm sitting at only 160 ER, and I have heard a lot of people say that she has energy problems. Now, the reason for that is because just the way that she's built, but her Lingering Lifeline skill, you can only do it once. So unless you have Sacrificial Bow, you essentially have a free C1 Yelan if you have that bow. If it actually procs, you can do it twice. And then if you have C1, you can do it 3 times. And boom, there's all your energy recharge problems gone. But in my experience, I do have her C1, and her C1 definitely gets rid of most of her energy recharge problems because you're able to do your first skill twice. So once you do that twice, boom, boom, you get more energy particles and you have your ult back pretty quick, especially if you're running teams who are batteries. I honestly was about to go nuts and just try and go for like C2 as well, but I said, let me have some self-restraint and let me just calm down. Her passive talents are pretty nice as well. The more elemental types you have on your team, the more her HP is increased by. And of course, her HP is what's going to give her more damage. So the higher the HP, the more damage. And for her second passive, basically when she does her ult, you'll see that the numbers increase by 3.5% damage. And as you're using your ult, you'll just see the numbers go up and up and up and up. And as far as team compositions go, honestly, I had tried her with a lot of my characters that I have. I don't have too many, so I can't really give you that much of an insight. But I can tell you this, when it comes to freeze comps, I usually would have Ayaka, Yelan, Xingqiu, and then Diona or Rosaria, someone else to compensate for freeze. Trying to put her in my freeze team, I noticed that her Hydro application didn't stay long enough to keep the freeze going, and I was better off with someone like Xingqiu or even Mona. But she does work well in the freeze teams in terms of damage, just not so much Hydro application. So as long as you have another Hydro unit on the team for freeze, it works pretty well. And when it comes to the Ride National team, or the Rational team as they call it, that works pretty well too. There's not really any hindrance there. Honestly, it's just a lot more damage. One thing that Yelan does have an issue with when it comes to just her character in itself, when you're at C0 or even C1 for that matter, she just kind of has an issue when it comes to applying. I don't know if like other things are messing with her application or what's going on, but I find it kind of hard to vaporize at times or like to get those elemental reactions with her. Of course they happen, but they don't happen consistently. But with that being said, once you do get that elemental reaction, especially vaporize, you can hit for some major damage. So for me, when it comes to the Spiral Abyss, she is an absolute must pick. Team 1, Team 2, doesn't really matter. If I can fit her on the team, I'm going to do that for sure. Yelan is an absolute bomb when it comes to Spiral Abyss. So overall, the character is just very strong in Spiral Abyss and of course in the overworld. The only issue I have with Yelan at C0, or in my case C1, is her ability to apply Hydro in order to hit those elemental reactions. That's the only issue I'd say, but even that can be fixed with her C2 or C4, I believe. And in what world could I possibly not talk about Yelan's appearance when giving a review for the character? And the character looks amazing, honestly, and just the, not even trying to be funny, but literally just like the color scheme of the character, the blue, the black, you know, the hair, the short cut, just the drip with the white jacket on the back that I believe she like stole from one of the Harbingers, I think. The earrings, the blue eyes, the talisman, the necklace, the choker, the glowing blue bracelet. I mean, the character designers at Hoyoverse just went out of their minds for this one. And also the character's personality and how she is. We got to see her in the story quest, her own story quest that is, and also the whole Archon quest we had just recently. And we get to see that she is a very, you know, strict and straight to the point type of person. Not really the funny type, you know. She has a lot of secrets to keep down, a lot of secrets to keep to herself. Overall, just a great character in general, all things considered. You get to see her serious side, but also her vulnerable side as well. Within the Archon quest, you saw her face when Zhao was about to sacrifice himself. So the last thing to close this video out is, was Yelan worth the pull and am I happy? The answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely. You know, now I don't know how much this character is going to be useful later down the line. Of course, a lot of things can change, but I wanted to make this video because her banner is going away soon. You can see on the screen 1 day, 20 hours left for NA. And this is going to be it for Yelan for a while. So let me know in the comments, did you enjoy Yelan? Do you have the character? Did you even bother pulling for her? Did you get her signature weapon? How are you liking her so far? And do you think she was worth the pull if you did? Or did you skip her? With Sumeru coming up, I think she's going to be a good addition as well. I feel like Hydro is going to probably be a good reaction to the new ones, I assume. I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and see. And the release of Yelan is actually pretty good when it comes to timing, because we have 2.7 ending soon, then we have 2.8, and then we have Sumeru. So like I said, I'm very, very interested to see how the characters are going to have chemistry with the new reactions, the new element, and how that's going to play out. And when it comes to other characters coming out and releasing, like brand new characters that is, I just can't wait to see the synergy with older characters and how older characters will blossom in the future or fall off in the future. To close this video, I just want to say, love the character and it'll be one of my all-time favorites going forward. But that will do it for me, guys. I wish you the best of luck on your banner pulls. I hope you can get Yelan at the last minute if you haven't already. If not, you can go for Arataki Ito and maybe Kuki Shinobu in the next banner. But I thank everybody for watching, and I will see you guys very soon in the next one.